So y'all got them all. I'm dropping them. I'm just giving y'all something to watch come the next day. So anyway, this is CS with DWP, and I thought I'd just talk about Empower for a hot second. Now, there's not really too many applications for this particular ability, which it looks like you're doing like a kung fu stance, or something like that. Give you a little bit of a look at it. So, but what Empower does is it gives you a flat 50 ability strength. So right now my ability strength is it's currently over 100. It's at 229, right? So at 229, what that's going to give me is it's going to give me 114 armor and speed, right? 114.5 armor and speed. But if I hit this ability, then it's going to raise. Let me actually show you like this. I'll show you on all the abilities. So what Empower does is I got the 114, right? Paralysis, I got my knockback strength 2,290, and then for this I got damage of 572, right? So, but if I hit Empower, that's going to give me basically an extra transient fortitude. So now this is 139.5. This is 2,790 with a 9.76 multiplier, and then this one right here is 697. What does that mean? Well, you're getting an extra 50%, power strength. It's literally that. There's no more, no less. Now, the way that I would recommend looking at this particular ability is, or applying the ability, is in scarcity. In scarce situations where you're not like spamming abilities. For example, if you are using a Frost and you would like to use Frost, I should say, to do some type of armor strip or something like that, you could actually put this ability in place of one of his others. I highly recommend his second, only because his first is required to function properly with his third. You don't need it, but it's recommended. But anyway, you can use that to bump him up that extra 50 ability strength so that you can achieve that armor strip. Same thing on Zaku. That's what's nice about that. What's also nice about Empower, and what I have actually kind of been enjoying, it's kind of one of those abilities I've been learning to like. What's nice about it is that it gives you a flat 50. So let's say we have Nova, slow Nova, right? And under normal circumstances, she'll have, I'm going to change it from 10 to 40 so you can see it go to like roughly 90, right? So I'm going to change this to Steel Charge, right? So there's 40%, right? With a 40% ability strength, we're going to be able to slow the enemy down by 30%, right? I can't do it on this frame because I don't have it on this frame. I apologize. Growing power. Nope. Power donation. I'll put it back on Valkyrie. And what I'll do is I'll try to drop Valkyrie down in the negatives to show you that it's still going to give me a flat 50. So, just so you guys have like visual proof. So here is this, and then I'll add overextend it to drop it 60. Right, so now we're at 40 ability strength. So where it should put us after I hit this ability, it should put us around 50%, maybe 45%, something like that. It's gonna be something like that. Warcry will be at like 45%, right? So now if I hit this, it's gonna add 50% power strength. So now it's at 45% because we went from 40 to 90% power strength, right? So it sucks because it doesn't scale, but it's also amazing that it doesn't scale, because you got to think, if it did scale, they would probably have it start at like 25 or 30 or something like that, and then we'd kind of be back where we started, right? So, but that's what it does. It's really nice. It's basically the way I would look at it. Here's how I've been using it, is when there is a Warframe where you are going to have a ton of duration applied to it, such as, let's say, an Eidolon Volt. I don't have it on this. Actually, I'll pull up Oberon, because that's the one I actually have it on. So let's say you got Oberon, right? And you're trying to shoot Eidolons. We're just going to fake like this is basically the same exact build. It just has to switch over. It's like the same exact build, basically. It's just I'm missing like a damage mod. But yeah, so you're running the Eidolon build. I got 278 ability strength and blah, 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 right? And you got Smite and Fusion. And you're like, cool, I want to shoot really, really hard, and you are one of those people who have 350 ability strength, because that's how you roll, right? Well, what you can do, if you look at the top, it says 278. Well, I'm going to turn that off for a hot second, right? Actually, I'm just going to hit the ability. So if I hit Empower first, then I turn Smite Infusion on, and I got 328 ability strength. Or 328 radiation damage that's going to be pumped into that shot, and every shot going forward for the duration of the cast. What's also nice about it is if I hit this ability first and then I hit renewal, my renewal is going to be at 131, whereas under normal circumstances is at 111, right? So just by hitting this first and then turning that on, you don't have to hit the ability again. You can just sit here and rock with your extra 50 ability strength on your ability, right? So at least that's the way I was approaching the application. It doesn't have to be on Oberon. It doesn't have to be. It could be on whatever frame you desire. The very last frame I was particularly trying it on was Titania, and the reason why, and this is kind of the idea or the concept I've been going with, and so far it's been seeming like it was working. But the whole idea is if it's a cast over time or extended duration cast, that's when you hit them. Those are where it's really going to benefit you. For example, if I hit this and then I go on a Razor Wing Blitz, my stats in Razor Wing Blitz should be buffed. So if I hit abilities and I go to Razor Wing, as you can see, the drone damage is 194, right? Whereas if I hit this first, right, and then I hit abilities, this right here, they jump up to 234. Everything in this ability, as long as it's on, is going to be at that ability strength. The minute I turn it off is when it changes. This also works for Razor Wing Blitz, like like the Blitz. So if I turn this on, right, under normal circumstances, I hit it, I get 73% on my Razor Wing Blitz, right? Whereas if I, it's not going to do it here because you have to cast it again, right? See, it's still 73. I'm just going to get some energy real quick. But let's say, for example, I cast it and I hit my second before I hit my first. Now I got 121. I hit that. I hit that. It's kind of weird. I'm at 243, but you get the point. What it does is it's going to buff the amount of percentage that I get, which is super nice. I'm still kind of working out the kinks of that, but I do know it does work because I hit 297 earlier today. So it was something crazy like that. So here's one cast. Here's two casts. See, 146. There's three casts. There's four casts. Yeah, 293. So it works. It's kind of because Razor Wing works off the number of casts, but it does work nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you're using that, that does work. Like I said, it works exceptionally well on duration-based warframes. If I come across any other super extreme ideas, I'll go ahead and share those with you guys, but those are some of the ones that came across my mind ahead. Mesa, it works also. I'm not going to be using it on Mesa, but I have it on Mesa just to have it there as a placeholder until tomorrow. But for example, Mesa is pretty devastating as is, right? So as is, Mesa looks like this, which isn't too great, but it's something, right? So that's Mesa normally, right? Let me make this dog invincible because it is dying like crazy. Invincible, even though he's gonna die. I'm not tripping. Anyway, this is Mesa with the first ability, with that Empower. Now keep in mind, this stacks. It stacks on top of stacks on top of stacks. Now that looks very similar, which is cool and all, but it stacks on top of stacks on top of stacks. What do I mean by that? Here's what I mean by that. And I'm really just trying to get you to think about it. Like I said, you don't have to use this on Mesa, you don't have to use it on any frame. But if you apply it correctly, right, then what you could do is, like, let's say, for example, you got Mesa, you hit your first ability, you hit your second. Now that one is buffed, right? Now the second, under normal circumstances, is only 37%, right? Whereas, if I hit Empower, the bonus damage is going to be 50%. So we already got a bonus there. Now I have Empower turned on, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the fourth. So the fourth, the Peacemakers, they get a 2.25 multiplier, right? That's pretty good. If I hit empower and I come back, now we're going to be at 3.75. So when you stack these on top of each other, they're probably not going to be as great as Roar, I know. But still going to be pretty impressive. So if I come over here, I only got 7 seconds to do this. It's alright. It's a little faster, I guess. I don't like the fact I gotta cast so many times, but nonetheless, I do know when I'm in a mission, I do feel the difference. One thing I don't like about it though, is if you have to, as you can see, my ring is really small. So usually what I do is I recast to get a bigger window, but I effectively have to do that before I cast every time. The last little tip I would give you, if you are gonna run this for whatever the application you have in mind is, yeah, I'll just kill him this way. One thing I would recommend getting in the habit of is just hitting that ability after you cast. You know, like find the rotation that suits you. So after you cast, just hit that. That way you don't have to think about it. It's already locked and loaded, and all you got to do is cast. And then you're done. Just hit it and then move on. And then it's locked and loaded because it doesn't use any energy over time. So in itself, I believe it's a really good ability. It's not a bad ability by any means. It's not necessarily the overpowered such and such that, you know, of course we all want it or whatever, but I do understand that, and I do think it's a really good ability. I think it's a really good ability. I do like it. I don't think anything is wrong with it. I have been having actually a lot of fun with it, just kind of playing around and stuff. I think for this very last one is I'll show you the supplementation that I was talking about, where you might be short ability strength, so you use it to supplement ability strength, right? So in the case of Zaku, I know they're working on a patch, but in this case we have Empower is going to give us 50, right? But not Grasp of Lock, sorry. Gaze, it needs 200% ability strength to hit 100% defense reduction, right? Now, that's a lot of resources that you have to dump into your frame to get it to hit that amount, which really sucks. Well, in this particular case, all you really have to do is use Transient Fortitude. Now, I'm using Blind Rage and all this other stuff because I have overextended on there because the range is absolutely terrible. Decisions, right? But nonetheless, if I hit it under normal circumstances, then what happens is everybody's armor stays the same, which is fine, I guess. But if I hit Empower before I cast it, now all of us, oh, well, I gotta wait for the first one to go away, I guess. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and reset all that. Oh, now we got some armor stripping, right? I'll wait for it to go away and then I'll show you again. Boop, so it goes away. Now if I hit Empower first and then I hit that, then everything loses its armor immediately, without me having to dump all those resources into my frame. What sucks is that I'm not going to have access to the void damage, which actually has some pretty interesting mechanics that you can kind of exploit. Credit to Snowy on this, such as extending the range of your Nukor's chain ability. So that's nice, but you won't have access to that. But, you know, you can pick whatever one you want. You can switch this out, which I probably should have, but whatever. You can switch this out if you never use it. You know, you can switch whatever one you want out, but that's just one other application. I'm still kind of fidangling around with things, trying to find what would be useful on it, but I thought I would at least kind of talk about this particular ability, because out of all the abilities that has been here so far, the parkour one is actually really powerful on frames that are extremely slow that actually don't need any help. That one is really good for those frames, but this one so far has been the one that's been probably the most helpful in easing the pain of doing all this math, trying to optimize as good as possible. If you need the extra 50 power strength and you only need it for this cast that's duration based, like, man, if I only had an extra 50 power strength to get this to this level, it'll last 45 seconds or whatever, and then I'm good. You could literally just pop the ability and forget about it. You don't even have to use it again. Perfectly, like, it's probably like the perfect ability to have on what's her name? On Valkyrie. And here's why. I believe that this one is going to be, in some ways, a really strong contender, even with Roar and all the rest of the abilities. And it's a starter ability. And the reason why I believe that is because it's the only ability that will buff your ability strength. It is twice as strong as growing power, and you can stack it with growing power. So you can have this, Umbra mods, growing power, so on and so forth. So you're going to have whatever the highest amount of damage you can get on a frame, that plus 50. So, which is kind of insane. And being that it's ability strength, you'll be able to apply this to things that don't necessarily deal damage. You could apply this to armor strips. You could apply it to the number of stacks that Revenant has. You can apply this to armor buffs. You can apply this to a number of things that actually has nothing to do with, like, you know, killing anything. You know, for example, you use Trinity and you just want that extra, you don't want to put all the power strength on her, but you want that little extra umph. Or if you want the little extra umph on your quick EV, you just got a quick emergency EV you just need to just throw out. You're running EV Trinity, you're probably going to be throwing it out all the time. Somebody forgot it, or you need to just get that extra umph of damage on that particular enemy. You could put that on your Trinity and hit that Juggernaut and probably deal some pretty impressive damage. For the guys who do EV Trinity, like testing in simulacrums and take it in the field and whatnot, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That thing is pretty devastating to a Juggernaut. So, anyway, that's pretty much the gist of it. This is CSVDWP. Hopefully this was a little bit more helpful. I'm not trying to justify the use of it. I'm only trying to bring a little bit of clarity to Empower. So far, I actually have been much more impressed, and I have been kind of reeled back into, you know, this update with that. So, you know, I gave it a chance, and Empower did not necessarily let me down. So I appreciate that. Still wish the nerf didn't happen, particularly Proteus, but nonetheless, give it a try. It is definitely worth your time, and I highly recommend trying it on whatever frame you choose. You know, last but not least, just be smart about it when you apply it. So that's pretty much it. This is CS for DWP. If you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions about it, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer those. And then just keep a lookout for Warframe Wiki Wednesday to be about this, you know, things in this particular update, particularly about the Necromechs, because there's a lot of information, misinformation, and confusion that's floating around, and questions that I even have as well. So keep an eye out for that coming up this Wednesday, and I will see you guys in the next piece of content. Love you guys. Y'all take it easy, stay safe, wash your hands, and happy farming. All right, you guys. Peace. Woo!